So we can get started. So my name is Alvin, right? So I have been working in SAP FICO, S/4HANA, as well as in Central Finance over the last 15 years. So have been working with major conglomerates across the world and in different verticals, right? So for example, I have worked with the manufacturing sector, so the healthcare, and like the electronics, airline services, pharmaceuticals. What is the importance of the different verticals? I will also let you know during the course of the training, so that like basically you need to have like once you get through with all the because SAP finance will be required in whichever kind of industry you will go in, right? So how the processes differ across a different industry, right? Maybe I will also generally what I do, through my exercises, I give some kind of scenarios, let's say for a manufacturing environment, or let's say kind of a retail or some service industry, so that when you build it up, right, at least you have the background knowledge of, okay, so this will be kind of the setup or the scenarios which I might need to work in when I am in this particular industry, or when I am catering to this particular clients in this industry, right? And from the certifications, yes, I have completed my so basically I started with the ECC versions of the certification, and then I stepped into the world of SAP. So I completed my finance certification, which is the FIN 5264, which is SAP FI. Then we have the 2264, which is for our controlling. So now with the new versions also we need to upgrade ourselves. So I have also completed my certification in the S4 HANA version. And we also have the central finance version, which has been merged over. Yeah, but our focus of the discussion will be more towards this one, because this will be the building blocks for your knowledge to step into the world of SAP FICO, right? Uh, okay, any questions, or maybe you have any doubt, or maybe any kind of queries about like maybe any general questions that you may have for me. I also see Mahesh also in the meeting list. So Mahesh, you want to also tell us about yourself? Like what is your background, or why are you interested to take up this course?
Yeah, so I'm Mahesh Krishna. So I did my master's in IT and business administration over Australia.
Yeah.
And I've been an HR, senior HR,
Okay.
working in McDonald's. So to proceed further in my career, so I thought of having something change, and I thought of focusing in SAP, like changing my career too. So I wanted to learn over.
So you wanted to move over to finance, right? From HR, is that right? Yes. Okay. Okay. Welcome to the course, Mahesh.
Thank you.
So in this, right, today's class is more like a demo where we will try to go through like all the different aspects which you are expected to learn in this course. And also maybe we'll just start with some basic building blocks so that you know, right, okay, so these are the some of the kind of knowledge steps that we will be going through during the course of the training. Okay, so as we come through, right, so we have, for example, the okay, so as I understand, most of you are or maybe has pursued something about the like you have already done your graduation in or maybe you have already completed kind of the basic knowledge of the financial and the management accounting during your commerce courses, right? And also but it doesn't like matter, because when I start, right, generally we also start with when we book the journal entries, right, we also try to go through that, so that you know, like, okay, what will be the journal, let's say when you have a vendor invoice, right, what will be the journal entry, how do you see that in the system, what is the process flow for that. So those we will definitely go through with the audience for this particular training. So yeah, so we were expecting freshers with or without accounting background. You can be end users as well as super users. You can be working as a junior application consultant, then also it will be useful for you. And also you can be kind of professionals who has chartered accountants, CPAs or CMAs as well. So that those can also benefit from this particular training, right? And also you might have started your career as a FICO support executive.
Sir,
So we can, yeah.
sir, what does CPA stand? What does
Yes.
CPA stands for?
The public certified public accountant, right?
CPA, I must.
Yeah, public accountant, this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chartered accounts. after the CPAs.
Yes, the
Public
certified
account.
public accountants.
Okay, so thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now what will be our goal? So basically, so this you can be from any of the background, but yeah, the main interest is to like the main objective is you should be interested in this domain of finance, and you should be able to learn about the SAP FICO. So my goal will be to make you kind of like you should be equipped with the knowledge in the financial accounting as well as in the management accounting, the basics on that. And also generally I highly recommend my students to go for this certification, FICO certification, once you complete this training, because that gives you kind of a benchmark to compete with the other candidates. I think in most of the cases, or maybe most of the companies, they require you to be FICO certified to be able to work in this particular role, right? And also for since I will be running through with you with the different types of scenarios, right? I think you will be confident to take up the SAP FICO system for different types of projects, and also and fulfill your role suitably when you go into that. And yes, we will be going through the different types of SAP projects as well, so you know where exactly you will fit in when you work for that project, right? So now, so for beginners, right, what is this SAP? Basically, I will start with a quick history, right? Why, basically, we had this ERP software. So previously, right, so there were kind of independent softwares which were available. Like there is one kind of tool which is used for, let's say, kind of production assistant tool, right, which is used in the warehouses to check what is the production progress, how much stock or inventory we have, right? And there are standalone tools which were used for the accounting, right? Like for example, Tally or maybe Myobi, whichever are the accounting packages that the company might have used, right? So now the question was, okay, so we have multiple systems, right? And they do have different types of applications, right? So how do you connect them to get them, like for like you need the reports in an integrated way, and also so that the system talk with each other, right? So how do you establish that, right? So for that, the need came for a integrated ERP. So SAP is one of the not one of the, it is the most popular ERP product which is available in the current market, right? And it hits in and it dates back to like almost, it has a 50 years. It has been in the market, and it has been trusted by like the small, medium, as well as the large enterprises, right? So there has been some kind of business advantage that you have when you are using this SAP, right? So because like be it any industry, right, it can provide you end-to-end solutions, like for example, whether from like recording your books of entry, and then viewing your inventory, or maybe reviewing the sales process, and doing your internal management accounting, anything, right? So it provides end-to-end solutions for the different industry, right? So that is one of the advantages of SAP, and it has already, like we will see in the next slides as well, like it has always evolved itself, right? For example, it started with a very basic version, which is the SAP R1, then we came to R2 and R3. So what does this R means, right? So basically this denotes like how many layers of servers that we have. Like for example, I will just give you an like a practical example for you, right? So when you access your, let's say, an app in your mobile, right? So what you see on the screen, let's that we call as the presentation server. Okay, when you access the apps, right, like the apps have certain kind of functions, right, the inbuilt functions, right? So so then this inbuilt applications are stored in the application server. And let's say when you want to do any transactions, or when you want to do some processing in your app, right, there will be a certain kind of like data history that needs to pull up. Let's say you're trying to book a movie ticket, right? So in that also, there will be some prices for those particular tickets, or maybe a database of which are the tickets which has been booked or maybe filled up. Then you will scroll down through your app and select that, and then book your tickets, correct? So those will be the place from which the information will be fetched, is known as the database server. So the three-layered architecture was popularly known as the SAP R3. So which was the most kind of popular version which came in the 1990s, that kind of time. So SAP had kind of versions 4.6, 5.0, 6.0. So there's different versions which it came up with, right? With the three application server, with the three server layers, like the presentation server, application server, and the database server. But now with it realized it can connect with certain components, and maybe the customer can switch it on and switch it off as per their requirement. For example, those customer, right, which are in the GCC, like let's say in the Gulf region, right? So they might be required the component for the GCC, so they need to just activate that. Uh, Similarly, for the India GST, not all the organizations are based in India, right? So there are certain packages that you need to activate for the India GST. So that also you can activate. So there comes this ECC version, which became very popular with the kind of it was releasing components which you can activate at your own will, right? But with this, right, SAP was still relying on the database with Oracle, and it slowly moved to its own database, which is known as the SAP HANA. After that, it evolved with this new version, which was like, okay, so like what were the problems which were being faced over here? So here, okay, so and the cloud on access was not there. So the Fiori was introduced at a later point, but it was not very much embedded, and also there were kind of some processes which could be simplified. So that came up in this SAP S4 HANA version. Okay, so the simplification came up in S4 HANA, and also you have certain additional functionalities like you have on cloud, you have on premises, which I think I will take you through when we go to the actual evolution class and over there. So I will just discuss that. Okay, so just to give a quick brief, like as I told, right, what is ERP? So it is Enterprise Resource Planning Tool, right? So in this ERP SAP, right, you have multiple. It follows a modular architecture. What do you mean by modular architecture? That is, you have different modules which fulfills its individual functions, but they are very much closely integrated with each other. So you can see there are so many modules. We have SAP FI, we have SAP CO, then we have the treasury, like those who are managing the cash centrally and maybe doing some investment, or so those in those cases we use the treasury module. We have the enterprise controlling. We will see that what we mean by that. We will study a bit of investment management during our course of the training when we do the CO. And the project system, I will maybe introduce what do we mean by that. It will be a kind of in-depth knowledge around this. And then we will also study integration with SDMM during our course of the training. And we also have other modules like PP, QM, PM. Then we have for the HR, we have the HCM. Then for kind of the reporting BW, it is slowly fading out because of the S4 HANA. There's the OLAP and the OLTP, which is coming up, for which it is much easier to obtain the reports directly from the S4 version. Right. So basically, by this slide, what I wanted to tell is it follows a modular architecture where you have multiple or maybe many modules inside your SAP system, and they are closely integrated, and they talk to each other, and it is always a real-time report which you fetch in SAP. Right. So this is kind of an infographics which provide you that the ERP can span across different kind of functions in an organization. Right. So this is the kind of the concept of ERP where we don't have standalone system for each function, but it is all integrated in one. Right. So what is the purpose of SAP FI? Right. So which is our first topic. So here the purpose of finance is what? Tell me. What is the purpose of financial accounting? Any answers? Yeah. Any answers? Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Sir, the main advantage of financial statement is that it provides the information about the true profit and loss of the business as well as the true financial position of the business at the end of every financial year.
Okay, so so you had multiple terms which you have brought. First of all, it tells you about the profit and loss. Is it only profit and loss? No, you also have the balance sheets, right? You also have the
Yes,
cash
sir.
flow. So these are some kind of
Yes, sir.
so the objective is to generate the financial statement. But why do we need to do that? So first step in SAP Finance is to record your to first recognize and record your transactions, right? So that start with your journal entry, correct, right? And then why do you generate this financial statement? Because this is used for your external reporting. So basically SAP FI fulfills the task of external reporting. What do you mean by external reporting? Let's say you have set up your own company, right? Then basically you do transactions. Let's say you deal with multiple vendors, you deal with multiple customers, you have your kind of services you have opted for, or maybe you procure something. But when it comes to, let's say, if somebody is needs to invest in your company, right, they need to know about like what are your operational costs, what are your capex, and what are your maybe asset balances or the liabilities balances, how much is your net revenue, net profit that you have. So that's the reason, right? So this kind of it cannot be in any ad hoc format, right? So there has to be a format which is very much established across the different lines of business, or maybe across the different verticals, right? So those financial statements are generated with the help of your SAP FI module, right? In SAP. Okay, so we will mainly talk about this three statements: the balance sheets, profit and loss, and the cash flow, which you will be finding in any of the annual in any annual report for any organizations that you wish to check. Is it clear? So basically, it helps you to record, then analyze as well as report your transactions in the SAP system, right? So here it's kind of a pictorial depiction of what I meant by this. So we are at this. So we learned about SAP FI, right? So SAP FI is to fulfill your external reporting requirement. Who are your external, maybe the persons who will be interested in your reports? Maybe the auditors will be interested, maybe the shareholders or the investors will be interested, and even the general public might need access to your report. Like for example, if for some reason they wanted to check if it's good to invest in this company, whether it is doing well or something like that, right? So this is anything which concerns the external, maybe external parties, right? For their external reporting requirement, you have this SAP FI, right? And for the internal reporting requirements, right, we will have this module which is known as SAP CO. Okay, so what does CO mean? So we'll come to that, but with this SAP CO, we'll come to that. Maybe I will just quickly introduce to that. So SAP CO is also another important SAP modules, and so as you know, SAP is a modular, follows a modular structure. So it's another important SAP module, and why it is important? Because it provides you with some operational information, right? For example, I have given some examples over here so that you can understand what are the kind of use cases for this SAP CO module. Let's say you are procuring something, you are a service organization, let's say you are maybe cognizant, right? And there you have different departments, right? We have the recruitment, the HR department is there, then you have kind of the delivery heads maybe there, right? So for the different towers, like let's say for BFSI manufacturing, so different, right? So now if you want to analyze the expenses, right, for each of this department, right? How do you do that? So you need to book the expense to some particular thing, right? So which we will call as a cost center later on. So that's why I've written COCCA over here. So you use the cost center accounting to analyze expenses per day. So this is one of the use cases. It has multiple other use cases as well. So let's say you want to, you are working in a kind of mobile manufacturing unit, right? And you want to roll out your new product. So before rolling out your new product, right, you will definitely do some kind of product marketing and product introduction, right? So there will be some cost you will incur for that. So how do you, so basically it is not launched yet, but still you incur those costs, right, for that particular product. So how do you maybe record that? We will see how we use the internal order for evaluating this marketing and the product introduction cost. And again, as I tell you that it is one of the use cases, so there can be more use cases of this particular thing, right? Then also we have this product costing, where it is a very kind of important module which is there especially to analyze what is the best price to manufacture this product and what should be the appropriate batch size, everything. So we will be able to see that in the product costing. So you will come across this term known as unit costing, simulation costing, and then all those things which we will take you through when we go through the course. And then the very important part is the COPA. So basically, whenever you need to analyze your reports, right? Let's say you have business which is spread across India, right? In India, right, like you have multiple regions. So if you want to check, like, okay, which are the particular regions which are doing better in this particular sales, which are your products, whether which are doing better, right? And through which channel, let's say through the B2B or the B2C, you are achieving better sales or not. So all these things you can analyze in your Copilot, right? So you got some idea about that. What is SAP FI and what is SAP CO, right? Any questions on this? Okay, no questions, right? At the moment. So now let's start off with some building blocks in SAP FI, right? So first of all, what we will see in SAP FI is, right, whenever you need to report any financial statements, right, you will report for a particular entity. So that entity is known as the company code in SAP FI terminal. Now, if you want to report your financial statement, what is the first thing that you need? Tell me, to have any transactions, what is the first thing that you need? You need some accounts, right? Correct? Where you can book your transactions. Let's say it can be account uh, like an expense account or a revenue account, or it can be a sub ledgers like customer, vendor, right? So the list of accounts is maintained under the chart of account, and definitely when you generate your report, as I think somebody already highlighted that you need to generate your reports for a particular financial year. So that is controlled by the fiscal year, and we will see also how we control the periods under that. So with this, right, so what we see is at least we need a company code, then you have the list of GL accounts, which is the chart of accounts, then you have the financial year, which will be used for the reporting. So these are some kind of basic building blocks that you have. So once a company code is created, it should have a chart of account as well as a fiscal year. We call it the fiscal year variant assigned to it. Then when you book your entry, right, what are the types of entry we can have? We can purchase some kind of capital assets, which are known as asset accounts over here. So you can have fixed asset as well as non-fixed asset. Can you give some example of fixed assets?
It's a purchase of furnitures, land, building, machineries.
Right. So basically, what is an asset? Asset is something which gives you value over a period of time. Correct? Right. So basically, those assets which can be used over a kind of a certain period of time, those are known as your asset. Right. So we can have two types of assets. One is a current asset. Current asset means you can liquidate it at any point. So let's say your bank account, your cash reserve, which you have, right? It is available at your usage, right? So that's a current asset, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and you can also have fixed assets, and you correctly pointed out it can be kind of buildings,
Building,
cars,
land, machinery,
plants, machineries, softwares, hardware. So all these are your fixed assets.
fixed assets.
Right?
Movable and immovable assets. That's it.
Yeah, right. And you can also have kind of some assets which are tangible and some kind of assets which are not intangible. For example, goodwill is also an asset.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So this asset, right? What we have what I meant to tell is we have one is the account. What I told is first to generate any report, you need the general ledger accounts.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
how do you link your sub ledgers with your general ledger? Is through a reconciliation account. So we will see how you link up, let's say, your accounts payable with your general ledger. How do you link up account receivable with your general ledger? How do you link up accounts asset accounting with your general ledger? We will see that. Even for the bank account, right, we will see how we configure the transaction so that, let's say, even in bank account, I will give an example. Let's say you have issued a check to a supplier. So issued
Yes,
a
sir.
check means that you have already issued that instrument, right, to him.
Yes,
But
sir.
will the money get deducted immediately once you issue the check? No, right? Once the
No,
supplier
sir.
deposits the check into his bank account, or maybe then only, or maybe he encashes that check if it's a kind of not account fee. So in here, so then he will be able to encash that check, right? So those are some of the examples where you can also have cash in transit. You can have kind of similarly, a customer might have given you a check and you have not encashed it yet, so it will be again in cash in transit. Yeah, so there we will study. So there are some types of bank accounts that are there. So we will study all of them over here. We will study about the sweep accounts, the different types of transactions also in bank accounting, like logbox. How do you recognize those? All those things we will study here. Okay. So the main objective of showing this slide is I wanted to show you that we have in SAP FI, we have the general ledger module. We have the accounts payable, accounts receivable, asset accounting, and we'll also study this bank accounting. So these four modules we will study during our course, and you will be well equipped with all the knowledge to maybe tackle any scenarios involving this module. Clear?
Yes.
So I will come back to this slide a little bit later. So first I wanted to, okay, let me just go back because, yeah. So in this, right, what we have is, okay, so you have your company code set up, right?
Yes.
Now, let's say you have company codes which are set up. Okay, so you are operating a business which is like spread across multiple domains, right? Let's say TCS is one of the Tata has multiple wings, right? For example, it has Tata Steel, you have the consultancy services, you have the airline services, right? So this represents separately your kind of like in your India market, right? So these represent as separate individual entities, right? So TCS will have its own share price, same where Tata Steel also it will be. So these entities are represented by company code. Now, if I want to analyze like which of the maybe the stream of business, like what is the performance, I want to compare the performances across the different stream of business, right? So we have a controlling area basically, so we can assign multiple company codes under one controlling area, and you can fetch the report, let's say, for all these different types of verticals or the segments of this. Okay, you got the point. What does this controlling area mean, and what does this company code mean? Is this concept clear, right? So basically, company code is used for financial reporting, controlling area for your CO reporting, right? And then you can fetch basically in your CO reports, right? You can have kind of you can consolidate the report from multiple company codes and analyze or compare their performances, and also maybe kind of do kind of cross charging inside this controlling area as well. And this business area represents your areas of business. So slowly we are phasing out the business area, and we will be using this term which is known as segments, because as per the IFRS regulation, right, which is the international accepted financial standards. So in that, right, they require companies to report their financial statement by the segments in which they operate. I will go through that when we go through those topics in detail, right? So now we have seen that, okay, so we have seen the modules in SAP FI. How about SAP CO? So SAP CO, I have already introduced you to this term. So you have cost element accounting, right? So anything which flows into SAP CO, right, those will be represented by cost elements, right? Then you also have cost center accounting. For example, you want to analyze your departmental expenses, you want to do allocation from one department to another. So in those cases, we have the cost center accounting. You can also have activity based costing. For example, if you do, like, let's say you are a manufacturing unit, let's say you are into airline services, preparing food for the airlines, right? So there can be different sections, right, when you prepare the food. So let's say there can be a hot kitchen, there can be a cold kitchen which is used to prepare the desserts and the salads, and then there can be kind of inventory place also. There can be yeah, so
Packaging.
yeah, so there can be multiple place work centers, right, and based on that you can have certain activities. So you can do activity based accounting as well. Internal orders primarily has been used for some special kind of events which do not occur on a daily basis, right? So let's say kind of product launch or marketing cost for a particular product, right? So those cases internal orders will be used. And the product cost controlling is it can be by, you can have product cost controlling by period, by orders, all the different types, right? So it is used in the manufacturing as well as the services industry to analyze what is the best price to prepare this particular product, and what will be the correct batch size, and analyze how I can move this product around the different plants which I may have, right? So product cost controlling will be controlling that portion. And and the profitability analysis is one of the most used kind of tool by your top management, just to check how like how well is your business at this moment, and they can slice and dice as per the different needs which they have. They can analyze your report by regions, by the type of customers, by the channels you are reaching out to the customer, whatever it is. So like parameters you need to analyze it, right? And your profit center is also something you can represent. These are kind of independent financial units under your company code So which represents, you can generate independent financial statements for them as well. Let's say, again, I give you one kind of example. Let's say Samsung, right? Samsung manufactures mobiles. It also has the mobile accessories, right? So let's say it has set up the separate profit centers for its mobiles as well as the accessories, as well as maybe the yeah. So maybe these two profit centers it has set up. So so you can generate also independent financial results by those units, which are the profit centers. So the in the profit center you will have both cost as well as revenue. So you can have a kind of full statement generated for them, right? So these are your kind of modules that we will study in SAP CO. So in SAP FI, we will be studying the general ledger, AP, AR, bank accounting, asset accounting. We'll also study new GL, the integration with the different modules that we have. And in SAP CO also, we will study this module, okay? Any question? Did you find it useful, this particular information? Like, for example, what will the main objective is to introduce you to what you will be studying in this particular, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any questions that you have?
Sir, at present, I don't have any questions, sir.
Okay. Okay, so I think yeah, so this was the content which I wanted to share. Unfortunately, like so the system demo we will only start once you enroll, like once you start with the course, right? We'll also, you will be having the hands-on practice in your system. I will be also giving you some practice exercises so that you can not only do you just learn in during the class, but also you can practice it yourself and get comfortable with the subject. Okay, so if there are no further comments, maybe I will start with Harish. So okay, so Harish, so maybe any questions on which version, or maybe something which you want to take up the training in, or maybe any questions you may have for the training, you can let me know. Not on this slides only, but for the training as well.
No, sir.
Okay, that's great. Mahesh, you have any question?
No.
Okay, that's great. Maybe Navrang, you want to also update if you have any questions? No, right?
Now, sir, why this FI and CO are correlated? Why means as both the program are separate, so why both the program are being integrated with each other, sir?
Actually, what is in ERP, right? We have all this kind of modules which are closely integrated. And SAP
Yes, sir.
FI and CO, the purpose of both of them are separate, right? For example, SAP FI is to fulfill your external reporting needs, and CO is for your internal reporting needs.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and we'll understand how they talk with each other also, and which are the maybe the overlap points, right, between these two modules.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Potla, any questions?
No, sir. No questions.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you.
Vijay, yeah, hi Vijay. You have any queries? I'm not sure if you were through the training, the demo class.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, so basically we went through kind of an overview of this SAP FI and the CO, so that we just at least gain a basic understanding of these two modules, and also the sub modules that we will cover. And also we told that we will be covering through the integrations of SAP FI and CO with other modules like MMST. So like, what are your expectations from this training, or maybe does it suit your purpose?
Yes, sir, definitely, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's great. So yeah, so thanks for everyone for joining this meeting. Maybe I will just pass it to Imran. Imran, you want to say something from the UpTaught? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I think we have shown them the overview of the SAP FICO, what we will be covering, and maybe kind of a basic understanding of the subject. So you can take it forward right after this, and we can you can let me know when do we get started with this course. What will be the timings, so that. Yeah,
sure, I will do that for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Hi guys, if you have any queries, you can just ping your details to the concerned person. So we'll go ahead and take it to the trainer and get the answers for the questions, whatever you have. So we have done with the session. If you have any queries, kindly send an email to info@uptaught.com or glory@uptaught.com.
Okay, thank you so much.
Like, subscribe, and press the bell icon.